I should make a render like that. So first I'll import a model of an Audi Quattro, you know, classic. Then making the shape of the road using a curve and making a plane to follow the shape of the curve. Then to animate the car, I at first tried rigging it with the RBC car add-on, but that proved to be pretty difficult because you just have to put the motor torque and steering value into the add-on, and this makes it really difficult to follow the curve of the road at a fast speed, also making it drift. So what I'm doing instead is just adding a bunch of empties and making the wheels always point at them. Then making the car follow the curve using a follow path constraint and tweaking its speed to get slower in the actual turn that it's going to drift along. Then I can animate the angle of the car, changing along the track. And lastly, animating the empties so that the positioning and turning of the tires looks natural and makes sense. I think for drifting you need to like kind of slam your car into the corner and then counter steer and then straighten the tires to get out of the curve, but not 100% sure. Anyways, after that was done, I unwrapped the road and applied just a gravel texture to it, making sure to use actual displacement just to get all that detail. Then the car model, I'm not quite happy with a lot of it, it's not very realistic, so I'm fixing the headlights here, experimenting with some displacement, also adding some bright metallic surface behind the headlights because that made it look way more realistic. I'm also making the stickers have a little bit of a displacement effect. With that done, I'm animating the wheels of the car spinning. I didn't really try to match it to the speed, but it's fine. I'm not really happy with the car wheels though, so I'm trying to tweak them here, but yeah, I'll just import some different wheel model, position it as close as I can to the actual wheels, and then parent them to the previous wheels, hiding them in the render. And that looks a lot better in my opinion. Oh yeah, and I'm also removing the Porsche logo because then I'm extruding up the sides of the roads because I want to have these like street shoulders, I guess. Adding a temp material and spawning in a few trees from the Tree Machine add-on, which you can check out with the link in the description, and then just applying their modifiers so it loads faster, then instancing them on the sides of the road. I'm struggling with the rotation here a little bit, and this is just because I forgot to apply the rotation of the mesh I'm instancing them on. I'll also add a bit of variance with just a bit of displacement, and then tweak the lighting, add some atmosphere, and make sure I'm happy with the amount of trees. Now I want to also have the tires kick up a bit of dust, so I'm adding these blocks to the wheels, adding a particle system, and then making this dust particle that I'll instance on the particles to get a really cheap fast rendering dust effect. Not fast rendering because it's volumetric, but it's not a smoke simulation, so it's better. So yeah, the sides of the road here, I'm just adding a basic texture, but I'm not happy with that. So I download a bunch of different 3D scans of road sides and then just placing them along the street, which I think that's gonna add a lot more detail than trying to texture that because yeah. Now the colors of these 3D scans don't really match that well, so I'm making this node group here to kind of make them a little more equal. Then to make the seam between the 3D scans and the road a little bit more seamless, I create this small plane on the side of the road and instance some grass on it. Also adding some grass to the environment around the road, as well as on the road side 3D scans as well. Masking them to be a little bit more in less steep areas because I don't want them to be fully covered up. For the forest around the road, again, I want some ferns and rocks and shrubs as well, because right now it looks a little empty. Then, so that the car isn't driving away from just an abyss, I'm duplicating the environment and placing it where the original street began. But then, after giving this scene a pretty involved color grade, here is the final result. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing.